Welcome in, curious crafters, to the 1 hour Saturday Spotlight. Today we'll be highlighting P. otal, and she'll probably tell me off when she comes up here that it isn't called that at all, but we'll see. Any questions within the chat at any point will be saved and asked at the end when Elizabeth's 1 hour interview with myself is complete. Now, Elizabeth, when you've finished fiddling with your screen, please try and ignore chat as best you can. I'll begin the countdown clock as soon as you come up. Now, when you are ready, give me a thumbs up, please, miss. I have 2 thumbs up. And now Elizabeth's up. Yay! Welcome in. Okay, good luck. Enjoy. Let's start your countdown.
Okay.
Do you seek feedback whenever you post a video on your channel?
Yes, I really like to have comments because then I know if I am presenting what I think I'm presenting, as well as maybe stimulating the audience to create their own things.
How do you react if there's a comment that you don't agree with or that you're not exactly happy with? How do you honestly react to it?
I try to see the point of view of the person asking the question or telling me that something isn't quite right. And if I disagree, I might say that I disagree, but I'm not going to be upset about it or anything like that. I do occasionally get comments from bogus people, and I delete those. And you can usually tell those ones.
Yeah, can't we just? Can't we just? We will get to your craft, so bear with it. But until then, you know, we're picking between the questions here. So how do you decide what to make next?
That's probably the most difficult question you can ask any artist, because it's just like, I think it's just like a writer that has a blank page and it's like, how am I going to start this story? I usually find some inspiration either in the colors that I'm seeing on TV or nature, or something around my studio, because I have a few unfinished projects, as most people do. I have been doing a lot of gel printing lately, and that kind of spurs, I think its own, it generates more things. The more you do, the more you want to do, and the more you try to do something different or something the same, or to make it expand on what you've already done. So that kind of generates its own thing. And then I've started making books from those. And so that's another way to just go on from there. But if I get in a rut and I don't think of anything, well, I usually don't have that problem though, because there's usually 24 things going through my mind at one time. So I'm just, I just pick one and go with that.
And you've already touched on 2 crafts that you do. I wonder if people's juices are flowing. I don't want to know which juices. Next. Next. How old were you when you first learned your main craft for your channel?
The same age I am now.
So you've done it all within a year?
Well, no. The gel printing I learned about a year ago, yes. But bookmaking I've been doing for 20 or 30 years, and before that I did paper crafts of other sorts. When I was a little tiny girl, I made paper doll clothes, and I made clothes for my Barbie doll, and you know, all of those things. So yeah, I've been doing crafts and arts of some sort for a really, really long time.
She's a multi-crafter, people. Multi-crafter. Not a multi-story car park. Crafter.
No.
So going with your main skill, what are you going to mainly be talking about when I ask you about your skill or your channel? What craft are you going to be focusing on today? Just so I know how to word the questions properly.
My channel is mainly about doing gel prints. I do have books on there as well because I've been making books from the gel prints. And I think I actually started, the first video I made was of making a lap book. So I guess I started with books, and then after I made my first gel print, I was hooked. And so I've made a lot of videos on the gel printing.
Okay, so
I don't think I can narrow it down to one. You know, it's kind of combined together.
Shall we go with the gel printing as your main craft, but your book making as your staple channel craft?
Okay.
Would that be fair? Good. Okay.
It sounds good. Yes.
I need to know where I'm sitting, standing, laying, whichever one I'm doing right now. Nobody knows. I'm actually standing on my head. I'm ever so versatile off camera. Okay. So
I want
it. Well, I can't because, you know, I'd have to put the camera on, and to do that, I'd have to not do it. So, you know. Okay. Afterwards. I'll show you afterwards.
Ooh.
Who taught you the gel printing?
What was that again?
Who taught you the gel printing?
I started by watching Patty Tolley Parrish on YouTube. And
Patty Tolley Parrish.
Patty Tolley, Tollie or Tolly. Gosh, I can't even spell her name now. Patty Tolley Parrish. She does gel printing, and she does primarily gel printing. She does some collage occasionally, but mainly gel printing. And I watched her, and she mentioned another lady, Robin McClendon, who also does gel printing. And I think that's each of them's mainstay, although Robin does books as well, makes books first, and collages. And from those two, I learned, I think, a lot of it, you know, the basics at least. And then from, I just, you know, searched gel printing and kind of looked at some different people. Can't remember her first name, but Doobie is her last name. And I don't remember the name of her show either. I should have, you know, maybe researched this or something, or looked this up. If I knew you were going to ask that question, I would have.
I can't do things like that.
But that's where I learned it from. And then trial and error, of course, experimenting. Gel printing is very forgiving because you can, after you've made a gel print, you can always gel print over it. And sometimes it gives you expected results of printing on just a plain piece of paper, or sometimes the print that's already on the paper will make a difference in what you get added to it. It can be exciting that way.
Okay, well, you've named sort of 2.5 channels there.
Yes,
so it's okay. It's okay. You have time to think. It's fine. And to be fair, I will just pause the countdown timer just for a moment, just to say this little bit. Bless her heart. Elizabeth has stepped in because there was an emergency cancellation with the person that was supposed to be today. And Elizabeth was supposed to be next week. And in about a day and a half, I think, notice, I said, could you please do this Saturday? And she was like, yep, I'll try and wake up on time. I'll be there. And bless her heart, she's here. I don't know if she's awake. I mean, you know, we'll find out. But she's here. So with regard to you saying, oh, should have researched that, I didn't give you much of a chance, and I apologise for that, but I'm very, very appreciative that you did stand in. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. I didn't know
Right.
the questions you were going to ask, or I could have been more
No,
prepared.
no,
For those.
nobody knows. It's a few of
On the
82.
spot.
They're
On the
all
spot.
laminated. Listen, listen, listen. They're laminated. I'm so chuffed that I've got laminated questions now and I don't have to be reading off the screen. But no, nobody gets to find out. But I'm going to restart the timer just for, because I'm supposed to. The channels that you've just mentioned will be in the description below. For anybody watching the replay or in the live afterwards, give me about an hour roughly. I will get those channels down below, and if Elizabeth remembers one of them, there'll be all three in there. Miss Elizabeth.
Yes, ma'am.
Where do you get your materials from?
The paper I had forever. As I said, I've done bookmaking for a really long time, and this paper that I use is called Finch Fine, and it is a really nice, slick, not slick as in shiny slick, but slick as in, just a nice surfaced paper that you could do calligraphy or any other kind of thing on, because it doesn't have any tooth to it. So I purchased that a long time ago to make books from it, because I thought that would be a good thing, that, if people are trying to write with all kinds of instruments, pencil, colored pencil, pen, or whatever, then that particular paper would work really well with it. It does. But when I purchased it, I had to purchase it in a ream of paper. And the ream of paper was like 22 by 30, the size of the paper itself, and I think 1,000 sheets. So I still have about a third of it left, even though I have been gel printing like for a year. And I cut the paper down to the size of the gel plate. When I first started, I had a 5x7 gel plate and was using all different kinds of paper. You can use any paper you want. I mean, you'll get different results the different paper that you use. But the Finch Fine gives you a really good contact with the surface, and so you get a different print than you would if you use tracing paper or something else.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have a lot of that paper, but then I had a lot of paints around, because I did marbling of paper, whole different. And so I had a lot of the paint. I'd collected it over the years from Hobby Lobby and Michael's and all the rest of those hobby stores, and replaced it as I used it, and bought supplies of it whenever they had it on sale. 50% off. You can't beat 50% off. So some of my paint, absolutely. Some of my paints are, probably 10 years old, but most of them are still, when they hadn't been opened, they were pretty much viable, and I could use them on the gel plate. The one paint that I do love, 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 and buy more of all the time is called Deco Arts Extreme Sheen 24 karat gold. And it's just the most beautiful gold I've ever seen in a paint. And it works really well on the gel plates for picking up your print and for just making it pretty. So that one I replace all the time, and I've purchased that from Amazon. I've purchased that from the local hobby stores. I've purchased that even from I think it's Home Depot had some, and so
wherever you find the bargain,
I get my supplies from everywhere. Right.
Good girl.
As far as sorry, my nose is itching. As far as you can use tools on your gel plate to make impressions of different types, like stripes or circles or whatever. I mean, I find those things everywhere. I use, lids of bottles, and for making stripes, you can use your combs or things like that. I also carve my own rubber stamps and cut my own stencils to use on the gel plate, as well as use purchased ones.
She really is multi-crafting. Maybe I should call you a multi-storied car park. Maybe.
There you go.
It's a different craft on every level. Craft park. I like it. Okay, next question. Do you use any particular patterns or plans, etc., for your work when you're doing them?
It depends if I'm trying to do something with a theme. The first gel print books I made were just from gel prints that I had on hand, and my roll-off sheets, which is when you've rolled your paint onto your gel plate and you have excess left on your brayer, then you roll it off onto a scrap piece of paper somewhere. And so I made the books from those, and then I decided I was going to make a steampunk book, which I don't think that turned out totally a steampunk book, because the images I used in it were mainly cogs and keys, which are steampunk related, but it wasn't as exciting as having like if you ever look up on YouTube, you can look up steampunk conventions where people do cosplay and dress up in these old outfits from the
modernized Victoriana.
Yeah, right. So and then they have a lot of mechanical stuff that they do too. So the cogs come into that. So I carved my own keys and cogs rubber stamps to use on my plate to make the gel prints specific to that journal, and ended up with, I think, 2 or 3 different ones that had the gel prints that had resulted from that. Then it led me into using blue and orange together, because I really like that combination, and I called that a fire and ice thing. So that theme came through, and that one was a lot patterns of the paper rather than a specific image on the paper. So after that, I had stamped a few butterflies on those, and so then I decided to do butterfly journals, and I am now making my sixth butterfly journal as a result. I've used purchased butterflies as well as ones that I've carved, and backgrounds that have come from the gel prints that I made previous to those. So there are some butterfly prints that have the blue and orange, and some even actually have keys in the background, although I've disguised those pretty well.
So you've mentioned 2 different projects there. Do you have one of the 2 that you've just mentioned to hand?
I have a few pages. I just last night folded the signatures of the number 6 butterfly book.
Let's have a look.
Well, here's one of the outsides of the signature. And this is a purchased butterfly, but the background, we have these circles, which is from a stencil that I made. And I don't know if you can see the vining kind of stuff in there, but that is from a rubber stamp that I carved. Actually, I carved that one a long time ago when I was doing printmaking, and made a relief print from it.
It's so and I want to say multi-leveled again, but I've got to get away from saying that phrase. It's very layered. There we go. It's such a layered look.
It actually does have 2 layers on it. The one with the little bubbly looking thing was on the paper, and it just had kind of green bubbles on it, and I didn't really like it just with that. No, actually it had the stripes, the blue stripes in there too. That's another stencil that I made. So the blue stripes and the green bubbles were on the plate, and then were on the paper, and then I put the purple and butterflies on the plate, No. I put the purple on the plate, did the subtraction of the vines, and then printed that on the sheet. And then I later stamped these butterflies on. Here's another one.
Appreciate that, Elizabeth, sister, for letting me know that the word I was looking for was dimensional. Thank you, Wriggles.
Oh, that's a good one. You can't call her Wriggles because my last name's Wriggles.
I know, it's so annoying.
Thank you. This one's actually 2 layers as well. Yes.
Ooh, shiny.
Yes, and this one's all done on the plate. Actually, it's 1 layer. It is 1 layer, but see, like this blue on the very edge here is because it was I had printed something with the blue on it, and that left an edge of blue on my plate, and I didn't bother to clear that off before I put the rest of the stuff on. Then I put on the turquoise and subtracted out of that, because when you stamp on it, it removes the color from the plate, and you take your stamp over and stamp it on a roll-off sheet of paper or a scrap sheet of paper, so that it will be, your stamp will be clean enough to pick up more stuff. So I removed the vine-looking stuff, and then rolled on some greeny gold. And then I removed the butterflies by stamping on the butterflies and removing them to the roll-off sheet. And then I put a gold, probably my extreme sheen gold, to go on the background. Sorry, then I put the purple on. There we go. And then, because then that would show through where the butterflies were purple, to make them purple. Mm-hmm. And when I picked it up, it sometimes, when you've got several layers on your plate, sometimes it will pick up the whole thing, which is a good thing if that's what you want. But sometimes it will pick up just part of it. So it'll leave, that's why you've got this kind of green haze here over the top of the butterflies. And that's why some of the butterflies are not wholly there. And I like that. I like it when it does that. So, as long as you like it, you keep trying to do that.
And I'm guessing every time you do it, you get a different result. So you can't get the same result the same each time necessarily.
Sometimes I try to do that on purpose. I have a couple of my videos that show a gel print, and it shows how I did that afterwards. It doesn't show it. I don't go. I mean, some people, when they're doing their videos, they will show you the result, but what they've actually done is the process video and gotten the result at the end, and then they somehow, and I'm not that good at making the videos themselves, but they somehow capture that image at the end and put it at the beginning of their video to show you. And I haven't done that, but on a couple of my videos, if you look at all the different ones that I've put on YouTube, and I think I have over 100 now.
Got quite a few, yep.
There are ones that I show you the print, and then I show you how I'm trying to recreate that exact print. And sometimes you can get really close to it. I've had 2 pieces of paper that I couldn't tell you which one was the first one that I did, because they were so similar in looks and things. But that doesn't always happen. And when you do the multi-layering, like I'm doing for most of these prints, it would be really difficult to make it, just exactly like this, because getting your smooshes of color in the same place, of course, would be practically impossible.
I like the technical term there, smushies of colour. I love it. Do it.
Yes, indeed.
Right.
I've only got, one more.
Oh, go on. Oh, hang on. Let me shove you back to large again. And there was me trying to get ahead. It's not my spotlight.
That's all right.
Sorry, Elizabeth.
This one's got just a different butterfly on it, but it does have the vines again. So I make them kind of related that way when I'm putting them in the book. There's usually some relation between the different ones
as I do them. The mask kind of Look,
Look
look
at
at all
that.
them. Oh, everyone knows which one I'm drawn to straight away.
Oh, let me see if I can get that into. Oh, there's the camera.
I kind
I
of want to
forget.
just do origami with them all.
They don't do origami very well because they are thick with paint. Plus, the paper that I'm using is a 100-pound Finch fine, and that thick of paper is difficult to
Not
fold
good.
into origami. That's correct.
Well, my imagination was there for a couple of seconds.
There you go.
She dashed it right out of there. Right. It's all right. I'll slap you later. You can slap me too. With regard to the YouTube, what actually inspired you to start it?
Well, I think at the beginning I was thinking that I might be able to make money with it. But I think I have decided that's not my primary goal on it. I like sharing what I'm doing. I like showing people what I've done. I like helping people learn how to do things. And therefore, that's what my YouTube is now. When I first started, I thought, well, you can make some money with this, and I kind of looked up how to make money with your videos and so on. And it's a lot of work. You have to have like 1,000 subscribers and 40,000 hours, not views, but hours of view. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. So I may eventually get that. I may eventually do some things to make money on that. But I've watched videos since then that say that one person that has an hour-long video might make $700 from that, and the other person that has an hour-long video and they have the same number of watching things, then they made a different amount of money. I mean, some of them make more and some of them make less, and I think it's partially because of the amount of ads that you have in a video.
We'll talk about it at the end.
Oh, but see, I don't really want to have ads in my videos. I hate watching video ads.
Good girl. Did you hear that? Everybody go subscribe because she ain't doing no ads. Do you hear that?
I don't have ads. No ads.
Or at least there's definitely none at the moment. Definitely none
right.
At the moment.
I have to say at the moment because you never know what will happen in the future, and somebody might do this 10 years from now and say, what? She says she's not having ads, and there she has them.
Then people can strike me down with a mallet. That's fine. That's fine.
No.
Let's go with your books for the moment, and we're going to talk about them. Look, did you see those eyes then? She was like, oh, which one am I going to grab? How long does it take you to do a typical book, typical project, start to finish?
It all depends. We talked a little bit to get me comfortable with StreamYard. And as a result,
a little bit. We were in a call that I thought was going to be 10 minutes. It actually lasted just over 2 hours. Mm-hmm.
Was it only 2? I thought it was 3. Okay. Anyway. It was crazy. It was fun, though, I thought. The books, I've been kind of timing myself on some of the things. As I was telling Lisa here, the gel prints themselves take up to anywhere 15 minutes or about to make a single gel print. So if you count that, then making the books that have 50, 60 pages in them, do the math. If it had 60 pages in it, that's 15 hours just for the gel prints. Now, when I cut them down, I cut them down from a 12 by 14 sheet of paper, and cutting them down takes about, for say the 60 pages or approximately 60 pages, takes about what did I do yesterday? Like 6 hours. Here's one of my gel prints. It'll just take up the whole screen.
Hang on. Let's make you big. There you go.
So this is
Yes.
This is 12 by 14. And so when I cut it down to 11 by 8.5. Actually, I don't. I cut it down to 11 inches tall. So when it's 11 inches tall, as you saw in my books, then I have to fold them into signatures. So that doesn't take that long because I cut them down to that size and then I decide where to fold them. So this one I decided to fold here. So when you look at the first page of the signature, you don't see very many butterflies, but that's okay too. It's going to be bound to another signature next to it. And you will see, when you open it up, you will see let me get these two juggled. You'll see one next to the other. And then you'll see butterflies on this one, this one, instead of the other one as you're looking at them. So I go through and I fold them into signatures then. So we're already 15 hours for making the gel prints, 6 hours for cutting them down, and folding them. I'm not going to count because that's like an hour, maybe that was part of the 6 hours, I think. But then after I've put them in, bound them into a book, this is what a book looks like. And I've sewn the signatures into the book. Then I sew them onto this, which is not Tyvek, Craftex. And I put holes in it. That probably takes, half an hour maybe to put the folds in it, put the holes in the structure, to sew them in. Maybe an hour by the time I've done all that. I think Barbara's probably adding them up for me. Thank you, Barbara. I have to cover the outside of the book. There's a board that's on the outside. There's a board that's on the inside cover. And then I put those on. And then and at that point is when I fold the pages to be even with the front covers. So that all pages are kind of more or less, they're not perfectly even, but they're more or less even with your front covers here. So when I fold that, I time that, and that takes at least 3 hours to do.
Wow.
And then I put on the ties or whatever closure it has. In this case, ribbon ties. That's doesn't take a long time unless I dye the ties. And then I put on the bead fringe, as I call it. And the bead fringe takes 6 hours to do. So it adds up. I mean, it's like over 20, almost 30 hours by the time that you finished making your book.
Wow. And you see that, people, there was beadwork in there. She mentioned about the binding of the book, the making of the book. Of course, you've got the gel. Look at that.
This one has the crossed, I call it crossed long stitch. It's
this is very, very non-spotlight-esque, but I have to do this. Yes, Barbara did total it up for you. 32 hours for a book.
And that's if all goes well, because if your print doesn't work out and you need to redo it, then that's another 15 minutes. And how many of those did you have to redo? And sometimes you have to go hunting for your beads because you don't know where you put all your red ones or your purple ones or whatever, the particular color that you're wanting to put, and all that kind of thing. So it takes a long time.
It's a lot of work put in there. I mean, I would clap, but I've got a cat stuck to one hand, and I don't think she'd appreciate me hitting her, really.
She wouldn't appreciate that.
She wouldn't appreciate it. Okay, so now we know that the short answer was typically it takes around 32 hours to make a book. But wow, the work that goes into it, Are you known for any particular technique or style that is your own, that you don't particularly think that others really go there, but you do?
I don't think, I have never seen one like this actually one with the hole in the back of the book to show your signatures. Now there are books that are made called buttonhole books, but they don't usually have, I mean, they're not made with fringe, the
Mhm.
beads, which I call my fringe. So I would say that this style of journal or book that I'm making is unique to me. I have never seen one done like this. There are books that have, beads on the back of them, or a single bead, bead cluster that would come down or whatever. Um, but I've never seen one that's exactly like this. And I made one that's even more unique than this, but I've already sold it, so I can't show you that one. Here's a
Oh,
here,
she said sold, people. So that's the second time she said it, which means she does sell these.
yes, I do. This one's sold as well. And the lady that I sold it to was kind enough to let me keep it. She was going to let me keep it till the 23rd, but since that was when I was going to have my interview, but since she's going to get it a week early. And this one has a different kind of closure. It has the craft text made into a little belt buckle type thing where you just slide that, and it takes kind of two hands to do it. So sorry, I don't. Well, no,
Is that leather or is that card?
This is a magic stuff. It's craft text, KRAFT space TEX, and it is a heavy kind of paper that you can actually wash in your washing machine and dry in your dryer if you so desire. And
it's
paper, does, ma'am.
It's paper.
It's paper, and
wow,
very strong. You can't tear it. Well, you might be able to tear it if you use pliers, but by your hands, it's not really easy to tear. And it just, I mean, it does look like leather, and that's one reason I use it. Plus, it's very flexible. Let me just open this one really quick, and I'll show you how flexible it is. You can just take your book, and if you want to write on a page that's on the inside, you can actually turn your book totally.
Nobody would ever do that with their book. I'd go and kill them. No,
that won't. Wow. It won't hurt this. It won't hurt this at all.
Wow. Flipping it. Sorry, I'm being ever so unprofessional. I apologize.
You can totally flip it around entirely, and then it will come right back and be perfectly there. It's very forgiving. I mean, it's you can sew through it. You can wrinkle it up to make it look even more leather-like. But it's just beautiful stuff, and it's called craft text, and I use it in a lot of different books. I have another one here that's not even related to this kind of book that I'm making that is done with the craft text. This is just covered, and this is white craft text because you can get it in multicolors. When I first started using it, you could just get it in the craft color, the brown, which they call natural. But I have some in the white and the brown, and I have even dyed it with alcohol inks. So you can do a lot of different things with it. This one has the same kind of binding as the other one that had the beads on it. But this one has a cover that you open like this and has no gel prints. It has 6 signatures in it, and each of those is covered in a cover. It's kind of hard to show on the screen, but it's covered in a cover, and the cover is cardstock, which has paint on it, and has pages that are Arches art paper. I forgot what the name of it is. Arches. Okay, I'll have to look that up, but I've made different prints on this, and these are done by swashing your paint on a large sheet of this and then using it to, make colors.
I love the next technical term, swashing the colors. We had a swoosh of color before. Now we're doing swashing.
A swoosh and a swoosh.
See? So technical. Wow.
We're learning all kinds of technical terminology here. I love to write in this kind of journal because you can write on the paint, of course. You can write between the paint, and you can write you can write little teeny tiny things. And I meant to bring over a book that I had written in that I used this technique just to show you, but I forgot to bring that over. So I'll have to have that shown in the comments or something
that
else.
particular style, I've got to say, I'm overly fascinated with that particular style because there's just so much. Like, you could be doing one thing in the front, you could be doing one thing in the back, and it's like separate little books all within one book. It's amazing.
Exactly. Exactly. 6 different little books in one, kind of.
So you've said that you sell your items.
Yeah.
Is there a particular place where you do sell them? And
I do have an. Oh, sorry. And
it's all right. It's okay. When it comes to pricing your items, how do you go about that? Is it completely down to, well, it all depends on the mood of the day, or how many hours I've put into it, or how much I enjoyed doing it, or how do you go about doing that?
well, it's kind of all of the above, except for the mood of the day. I do try to have a standard price. Once I set a price, now I have the first people that purchased my journals, which did not purchase it through my Etsy shop. I do have an Etsy shop, and the first people that purchased my journals actually purchased it directly from seeing a video on YouTube, and said, "I want that. Sell it to me, please." And so I gave the first 2 or 3 a really, really good price.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were my first customers, and because I appreciated them, and it made me the thing that I got out of it. And I'm sorry if I'm moving my camera. I put that in behind there. Let me put that over here. It gave me the confidence that my books would sell. So they got them at a price that was a little cheaper than I am selling them now, but it is still, I think, still if you're counting the number of hours that you put in, it's extremely, extremely reasonable. And if you're counting you have to count the amount of paint and the paper and everything else. I mean, if you want to really go into it, and the beads probably are the most expensive per item that's on the book. And but if you're counting all that, I mean, it's nowhere near what the price of what my time would be worth if I wanted to count it as if I got minimum wage. Okay, I mean, there's no way that I'm getting minimum wage out of it. I price them by partially by what I've put into it as far as materials, because you have to consider that you're going to have to replace your materials to make another one. So, even if you're not going to sell the second one, you're going to want to replace that. So you have to consider your materials that went into it. Your time, not so much, because a lot of times the time is, I mean, what else would I be doing with that time? I'd be watching YouTube videos or TV or something else. But the skill that, I think that I'm not saying that there are a lot of people out there that are making extremely beautiful books and beautiful works of art that are selling them. And when I went to decide on how much things were, I did look into what their prices were as well, so that I'm kind of similar. Here's another book. This one is all white, and it has.
Hang on. There you go.
Well, I won't move it till you get a picture of it. But it has an interesting button closure where it has a string that comes down straight, and then you just flip it over the button. The button is attached to the book, and of course I can't do that right now. Okay, there we go. And it's a really cool button. This button inspired the closure. But this one doesn't have separate sections. This one has watercolor paper in it. So if you wanted to do watercolor in a book, this would be a really good one. It has 6 signatures. Yes, 6. And it even has a little bookmark that I've braided from the threads that came off of it.
That'd be great for an artist's journal to be able to plan and design, and
Right.
I think that's beautiful.
It's about 4.5 by 6, I believe. So it's not a very big book. I also do altered books, which means that I take a book that exists and I make something else out of it. In this case, I cut down a book, a Reader's Digest book, so you can see the pages where the print would have been on the pages. And you can open this up, and I have lined it with paper and made it into a cute little box.
I don't even need to make you large for that, but I will anyway, because it's so cute.
And this does have a leather binding, and I'm really happy with the way that my corners, when you're doing leather, you have to do your corners, and I made mine really flat. I was so proud of myself on that.
Very, very cute.
You're happy not where it comes. Here's another Reader's Digest box. This one I put a bunch of sparklies on. People like sparklies.
People like
this one has a silver paper lining, and I even made a little tray for it so that you could put, rings and things. It's not going to be big enough for very much. I mean, it could hold a bracelet under there. But speaking of leather bindings, I did this one as well. This one is one of my favorites because it has the full leather binding, plus it has the things on the spine, the raised little ridges on the spine, right? Mm-hmm. And the paper that I use for the end papers is by Galen Berry. He makes gorgeous, I do marbling, but mine doesn't look like this. I mean, this is just gorgeous. And then this paper in here is a printmaking paper called Reeves BFK Newsprint Gray because of the color of it. And I love it because I rounded over the edges and did it like a proper book. It does have glued on end bands rather than sewn on end bands. I have done sewn on end bands. That's a whole nother story.
But still, the work and the skill. Right. Shall we do another question?
Oh, sure.
I don't think we should. I think we should pause the countdown timer because normally I pause it halfway through to address the chat.
Oh.
But I couldn't because, you were showing your books. So we're actually 3/4 of the way through. I have paused the countdown timer.
Okay, I'm going to drink.
Take a drink, girl. You take a drink.
It's water.
I don't believe her. For those of you in the chat that have questions, I am grabbing what I see. If you have any within the next 15 minutes, get them in the chat. I will save them. If I see them, with all fingers crossed, I should be able to. And they will be asked at the end, which will be in approximately 15 minutes, depending on when she be's quiet. Shh. But we'll try and get another couple of questions in at least. But get those questions in because we will have 15 minutes when I've finished to get you guys your chance. So, Elizabeth, ready for your next question?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you judge a finished piece to see if it's good enough?
Wait a minute. Got to fix my toes so they don't get cold. How do I judge a finished piece to make sure it's good enough? When I'm making something, I make it the best I can make it. I want it to look like, I don't want it to look like necessarily store-bought, because that's a bad word in the crafting community, because then it's sometimes cheap. Because if you think about it, when you're paying, let's say you pay $100 for a book, you're not going to go out to your Walmart or something like that and pay $100 for a book. But they're not made the same. They're not made by hand. They're made by machine and so on. So I want it to look as if it's as good as anything you could buy anywhere. If I don't like, I will tell you on this book that I'm making that has the pages, I decided to do a shortcut. So I put 3 pages, one stacked on top of the other, and I can't remember which. Oh, it's in the green signature, I think. That I had 3 pages, one stacked on top of the other, and so I was cutting them at the same time. And when I cut them down from being a large page, I select on that page what the prettiest part of that page to make my pages for my book. But I had 3 stacked on top of each other, and I wasn't as careful as I could have been at doing that. It's not in this. Oh, it is in this one. So I cut this page. It was on the bottom. And you can see that at the bottom of this page right here, it has a little piece of a wing of a butterfly. Well, I would rather have had that butterfly cut with a little more of the wing or with no wing at all. So this is not my best work, this particular thing. And I have considered reprinting this, which I may do before this book goes out. But actually, when it's folded, it doesn't look that bad, because when you have it folded next to the other page, of course, the other page is going to be white next to it. Come on, pages, quit trying to fall off my table. You know, this particular journal has pages that you have one gel print and then you have white next to it for you to write. You can write gel prints too, but it doesn't look that bad when it's just there. But when it was the whole 2 pages, then I didn't like it because it had too much. I mean, this one was cut off as well. And I usually would have had it where it cut off part of the top and then part of the bottom, rather than having only one cut. But I've decided it doesn't look that bad, so I may go ahead and let it go as that. But that's what I do. I look at things and I say, is this right? Does this look as good as it could be? And if it doesn't, I will replace it. If it doesn't look right when I have the finished thing looking at it, I mean, when you're looking at the 2 pages together, it looks different than looking at, like see, this is the 2-page spread on this set of pages. And it does, to me, it looks okay with just the butterflies coming in on the edge, because you've got so much going on the outside. And then on the back part of that, you will see it with the more butterflies. But how do I judge if something's good enough? I have been known to scrap things and rework them if they didn't come out right. I have some boxes here I'll show you real quick. A stacked box set of 3. That if the corners didn't come out right, or if in this case I have them tight enough, my object was to have them tight enough that I could hold up the top box and nothing opens, but then you can still open them. Oops, where's the camera? But if they didn't fit tight enough for that, then I would have remade them. I would have remade the little insert that goes inside the box to hold it together. I don't know if that answered your question totally or not, but I do redo things if I'm not pleased with them enough that I would want to use them, have them as my own for the price that I am selling them. How does that sound?
That's a really good answer at the end. That's a really good answer. Well done. What are you do plenty of different crafts. Yeah. We're only going into a couple at the moment, because if anybody else wants to know everything that she does, get over to her channel. We're only picking up on a couple here, so go and have a look for yourself. But what can we expect to see from you in your future videos?
Mostly anything somebody requests that I can do, I will do in my video. So if somebody wanted to see me do marbling paper, I could show them marbling paper in my video. I have done several, at least three, I think three different ones that were videos that were on request. One of them, my sister that lives in Minnesota, asked if I could show all my boxes because she wanted to show those to her friends. And a lady asked, what did she ask me? Oh, how to do Coptic stitch binding. So I showed that on a video. If you request it and I can do it, I'll do it.
Wow.
Now, I'm probably not going to show you making a glass pendant, because making a glass pendant would be very boring to sit there and watch the kiln all night as it makes the pendant. I could show you what you do before.
Some people will probably sit there and watch it because that's more entertaining than watching paint dry. You can actually see it drying and hopefully not cracking. But I'd sit and watch it, but that's me. You said that earlier you said about making videos, you're not very good at it. You've admitted to us, to yourself, you're not brilliant at it. But is there a particular bit of the video making process that you don't mind doing, and it's kind of, yeah, I'm all right with that, that's good?
I have seen videos where they have an intro screen, little titles that go across or pop up in the middle of the video and things like that. I don't really care to have those things. Nick the Booksmith is a really good video that, she shows how to make some books. She shows all kinds of different things. And she does her signature at the end of the show. It's kind of neat, but why waste my time? I'm sorry. Why waste my time on doing that? She can do that. Because she has it down to science. She's done it very well. I admire that, but I don't want to take my time to do that when I could be doing a gel print. It's much more fun to do a gel print than something like that. So I did have some videos that I had my camera the wrong way. When you have your camera for the video, you want to have it across so that you can see as much going on as you can. And most of the formats that people watch the videos on are horizontal things as well. So it's nice to have your video to be a horizontal format. I had some that I had vertical, and I ended up having my husband find a program that I could switch those. So I will do that. If I mess up and make a video that is vertical, then I will switch it to horizontal, but that's about the extent of what I do. Some of my videos I've made a little bit too long. So far right now, I'm just doing the 30-minute videos. I haven't really been doing any live videos because I don't have a separate camera. I use my phone as my camera. And it does give good enough look to what I'm doing so that you can tell what I'm doing, but it's not perfectly framed, and it's not an extra little blip that comes up to have you have additional information in there. I put those things in the comments, in my comments on the video, and I don't have a title screen, and I don't have an end signature screen or anything like that. And if you don't want to watch videos that are like that, then sorry.
Well, you're being yourself, and I'm almost certain that is what people come to see on most people's channels. It's, you want to see that person and what they're doing, not stupid little paw prints going across the screen or little presents bouncing up and down like in some people's stupid introductions. But we won't mention those because they're stupid people. With regard to your craft supplies, we're going with the bookmaking and the gel prints for this particular thingy. What 5, good luck, what 5 craft tools or craft supplies could you not live without? I did say good luck. Count on your hands, girl.
Okay, as far as my gel printing, I could not live without, or would not want to live without, the now if you're talking about tools that are essential to doing it, then you have to have your gel plate and your brayer and your paint of some sort. The thing that I would not want to live without would be my Extreme Sheen Gold, which this one's kind of a battered up version of it.
Hang on. Trying to do it with a left hand with a cat cleaning itself in the there we go.
I would not want to live without that. I love that paint. Now, as far as my bookmaking, you have to have, I think is essential, an X-Acto knife to cut down your pages to the right size. You can tear them down, but then you'd have the raggedy edges. You have to have an awl to punch your holes. You have to have some way to sew those together. So you have to.
Hang on, you've gone way beyond 5. You've got 5 fingers on your, 4 fingers and a thumb.
Yeah,
5, darling.
Yeah,
5.
I kind of meshed them together so that
5 craft items, craft tools or materials. Which 5 could you not go without?
Okay, 5 I could not go without. X-Acto knife. Number 1.
Don't eat your choices.
A ruler, a measuring device.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a measuring device.
Mm-hmm. Stop swearing, please.
String, because I love to sew with it.
Okay.
But if I have my string, I have to have my needle. So I guess
that's your 4th. Yeah.
And paper. You got to have paper. Can't do anything without paper.
There you go. There's your 5. You could make something pretty good out of those. She's like, well, not really. Okay, we'll go with
it. Well, I didn't name paint or anything. So, I mean, you're going to have paper that's just paper, you know.
Paper that's just paper. Yep, we'll go with that.
Of course, I did have an all-white book I showed you, so that could be made.
You see?
But you wouldn't have your button closure, so sorry. Oh, yes, you could. You could make a button out of paper.
You could. See, the imagination. She's already thought of a new book. We've got time for 2 more questions from me. How long did it take you to be confident in front of the camera?
That's a difficult question.
Are you confident in front of the camera?
I think so.
There you go. Probably. So how long did
it take? When I was a kid, I was very shy and not shy, but I wasn't confident in front of a camera because I thought everyone would be judging me. When I got to be about 30 years old, I said, the heck with it, who cares? Do it. And I was interviewed way back when by Barry Burnson when I was doing little teeny tiny etchings. I was doing etchings the size of 3/4 of an inch. And he was our local fluff reporter. So I was interviewed for that, and I wasn't shy on that. Anytime I'm talking about my art, it's easy to be in front of a camera. I don't have any problem whatsoever.
So we've gone from really, really shy to I don't care, bring it on.
That's right.
Good girl. Right.
If you don't like what I look like or what I say, look away.
Exactly. Good girl. Right, you are going to choose the last question.
Oh, goodness.
Dun, dun, dun! I'm just hoping that you don't pick one that I've already asked, because I don't know where I've asked and where I haven't, because I've switched between my questions so much I have no clue. But pick a number between 10 and 82.
82? You have 82 questions you could ask?
I do. And they're laminated.
Okay, we'll pick number 24.
Oh, good girl. I like her thinking. 24. Oh, I like this question.
I hope I do.
You will. You will.
Okay.
What do you do? Oh, hang on. Hurry up. Thank you. What do you do to make your workspace an inspiring place to be?
I do have an answer for that.
See,
I
there we go.
I display in my workspace things that make me happy, things that are colorful, things that inspire me. Some of those things I have made, some of those things people have given me, some of those things are purchased items and so on. Right now I have a puzzle that I put together that my brother gave me for Christmas one year. I have a print that a friend made that I actually purchased. I have a set of colored pencils that I purchased for $5 at Michael's at the end of when they were getting rid of them, but they have little character erasers on the ends of them. And I love the colors because they're in rainbow color order, which is one of the things that, if you notice the beads on my books, some of those things are in rainbow color order.
And binding. Yep.
I have a photograph that I took in Germany when I was there. I mean, I have some of my books displayed, ones that are my favorites that I would never sell unless, it was like $2,000 or $3,000 or more than that. And, depending if somebody was crazy rich and they wanted to say, I want that, then I'm sure I'm up with a price somewhere, and maybe not that one. But those are the things that I have around my studio. And I have pictures of my nephews and pictures of my, excuse me, my sisters and brother and things like that, in like when they were on vacation or whatever and having a good time, and those things make me smile. So it inspires me. It gets me going. I just, like pretty things.
Oh, you really do make an effort to make the place inspiring. I like that. Well done.
Thank
See,
you.
I know you'd be. I love that question because I love what comes back from it, and you seem to quite like that one as well. That was an easy one to end on, right?
It was a good one to end on, yes.
Just nod and smile, Elizabeth. Nod and smile.
I can do that.
Right. I am going to head into the couple of questions that we have had. If anybody has a question while I'm asking these, because there aren't that many, you better be quick. If I haven't had any come in by the time that I finish these ones that I've seen, we will end it. So get your questions in quick. Okay. So let me go to the top and see what we've got. Bear with me. It's very difficult doing this on your own. I've got no staff in here today. That's so lazy. No, hang on. We've got a lot of compliments, but we will get there. My question for the end from Marie Chavez. She has said, Elizabeth, do you have an Etsy shop that you can tell us about? Is it set up for purchases? Can I buy now? Well, she didn't quite say that, but I know what she's egging on for.
I do have an Etsy shop set up. It's called Otal Shop, and it does have a few things in it. I have not restocked it lately. If there's a specific thing that you're interested in buying, I can do it individually through what is it called? DM, direct message,
Yeah, the
PM.
instant
That's it.
on Etsy.
I can do that. I can do it I will be putting some of these journals into the Etsy shop if they don't sell directly from just my YouTube videos and people contacting me directly. And the boxes, I haven't really put any of those in there. If there's something specific that you're looking for, let me know. And, you know, I know that Lisa has told me a couple of things that I should put in my Etsy shop. Some of my smaller books that I have not yet
time to do it as well.
It takes a bit to put something in your Etsy shop. I mean, I don't know if those asking questions have done Etsy shops, but you have to photograph it so that it will look good in there. And then you have to write, of course, your descriptions, and, you know, that all takes time. So I haven't.
You've got to sell your product. And when you sell it, you make your pennies or your cents. Doesn't sound quite right.
If I can sell it directly to the person, then Etsy's not taking their 5%.
Good girl. We're not saying
Etsy. I love you, but, you know, thanks.
I'll be honest, I'm the same way. I'm exactly the same. Okay, well done. And again, for those watching the replay or for those in the chat right now that are interested, give me an hour, as long as I can get away from Elizabeth. Give me an hour after this, and I will get the links in the description to her Etsy shop, because she will give me it, and to the other 2.5 channels that she has mentioned. But we'll get there. We will get there. So bear with me.
All of my videos, have the Etsy shop link at the bottom of my comments on them.
So when you're over there, you can pop on into a shop too. You see?
Yeah.
It all works out brilliantly.
But I have to get the stuff into my shop. So if you tell me what you're specifically interested in, I can do that.
My mind is going, woohoo, right now, but I won't say that out loud. Okay, next question comes from Kay's Crochet Haven.
Okay.
My question for the end. Well, this isn't quite the end, but it is the end. But okay, we'll go with it. Do you have extra books already made, or do you only do custom orders?
I have both. I have lots of them already made that I haven't shown you. Of course, you saw like 6 or 8 today. And I do custom orders as well. For example, the butterfly book, if you wanted all red backgrounds, I could do that. You know, it would take a while because I'd have to do it from scratch. I don't have that many red papers. But yes, I do custom orders. I have done some custom orders already. Those wouldn't be done through the Etsy shop because that's harder to do. Although I guess maybe they could be. But yes, I do both. I do custom orders, and I do have a bunch of books already made. I did send some over to a, what do they call it? A gallery. I couldn't think of the word. A gallery in New Albany, Indiana, and they've done really well. I've sold 3 out of the 6, and the 3 that didn't sell had black pages. They were just the outside covers were made with paste paper, and that's a whole different thing too. And but they sold rather well, so I was happy with those. I'm going to send. I have like 6 more of those type too. They're blank pages with just a colorful cover.
I do have a personal question for myself, which I don't think I've actually done in an interview before, and I apologize, but I would type it out, but I'm too lazy, so I'm just going to say it. If I make you large, could you show the audience your minis? Remember the minis? The little tiny little minis? Have you still got them?
I did bring some over to show.
They're on my... I want people to see the minis.
These are the ones that I showed. I'll show 3 of them that Lisa fell in love with. She liked they're in little plastic bags, hanging up on a little hanger thing. Oops, get it in the camera. This one has beads on the, that's ones that she loves. It has beads on the front. It has, this is the case for the book. So we just tap it once and it comes out from the case like this. And it's an accordion book. So, and it has marbled paper on the inside. So you could write on both sides. And it actually, the marbling on this went through the paper, so you have it on the back as well. And another one that's similar to that, this one has a little tie closure for it. But the tie is made out of paper, and because of that, it's easier to just slip it off. Oops, slip it off. Than to, and see, it stays, it stays like a little square.
So cute.
And then this one has the green marbled paper in it. Oops, this way. And this one has a handmade paper from like Thailand or something like that on the outside. I do make paper too, but, and I have some books that have my handmade paper in them too. I didn't bring any of those over. And this one has a Japanese paper on the outside and my marbled paper on the inside. When I made these, I tried to make the outside reflect like the colors on the inside.
So beautiful.
Thank you. I have medium-sized books like this one, which let me.
Okay, show one, because we're going to have to do the last couple of questions and end off. So show. You've done your standard books, you've done your little minis, and now we've got a medium one. So any size, size isn't an issue. Oh, look at the fall.
And this is done with a long stitch backing. That's what that is. And this has just, this is commercial, like scrapbooking paper on the outside. And it actually has a little jewel on it. I don't know why I put that jewel there. I guess I just liked it. And it's just marbled paper. That's purchased marbled paper on the inside. And then just little pages like, this is probably, yeah, that's probably a purchased, like a text weight paper that you would use for writing letters or something if you wanted to have your, you know, your stationery to be that color. Just a little simple little book. Okay, next question.
But I'm so sorry. You know, I've got to be fair to everybody. So you know, we're time limited, my darling. Okay, so another question from Miss Marie Chavez. She says, I probably missed it, but what is the finished object primarily used for? I.e. journal, photos, watercolouring, or is it a mix of everything?
It depends on the book. Excuse me, these big ones that I'm doing here are actually journals. So there would be places to write on the pages and just to, you know, to have a really pretty place to write your thoughts and so on. The smaller ones, the one book is a watercolor paper that you can definitely, that you would definitely use. You probably wouldn't write your journal on this one because it is, you know, watercolor pages, and it definitely would work for any medium. You wouldn't do calligraphy on it either because watercolor paper, as you know, is rough, so it would not be good for that. Depending on what you're going to use your book for is what you look at your pages to see what they're like. If your pages are smooth, you can do calligraphy and, you know, minute drawings and so on. If you have watercolor paper, which is a heavier and usually has pock marks in it, unless it's a hot press watercolor paper, which could be smooth enough to write and do you know, intricate drawings on. So
I'm guessing really because you do your custom orders. If somebody says, I would like a journal style book, you can say, right, okay, well, I can use this paper primarily, or if you prefer, I could maybe use this one, etc. So it is literally down to the customer, really.
And when I put them in my Etsy shop, I would specify the type of paper that it is so that you would know that you were purchasing a book that had watercolor paper in it or one that had pastel paper. Pastel paper is usually smooth enough that you can write on it with a pen, but it usually has a little bitty tiny bit of a tooth, just a little bit of indentations in it so that it will take the pastels and hold the pastels there rather than just letting them slide off the page.
We have a question from someone I've never seen before, so I apologize. Someone called Barbara Riggle Baker has asked, she has asked, did you make that necklace that you're wearing?
Oh, you know I did. Didn't you know I did? Yes, I made this necklace. This is...
No, she just wants to show you off, darling. She wants to show you off.
This is a glass necklace. It's a glass pendant that I made in my little kiln. I try to turn it to the light. I wore it just specifically for that because I showed Lisa one that I made when we were doing our pre-interview interview. And I can't get this camera thing. This bugs me when my neckline is not just right. Perfection here.
I'm not here to see your neckline. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
It keeps shifting from one side to the other, and I'm like,
you blame whatever you like. Right, next question.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. It comes from Junkin 101 with Cassie.
Oh, I know
what
her.
has been your favorite project you have made? I'm guessing that'll be in all of your crafts. What is the one thing that you can turn around and say, damn, girl, you did good?
I don't have it over here. It's over there on the shelf, and it's called my Troll Bridge Book and Box. And my Troll Bridge Book and Box, the book is made with my handmade paper that I made. The outside of it is covered with paper towel that I painted. I did do the custom hand sewn book, the edges for it, what do you call those things again? At the top of your book, you have the little thing to help you when you pull it off the shelf that it doesn't pull the back away because you got the headband. That's it. Hand sewn headband and tail band for it. The book is displayed open, and it has enough pages. It's about this thick, so it has enough pages, and when it's open, it makes a little arc. And I've even made a little support for that arc out of the same paper. The box for it I made it's an arc shape, and it has little wooden pegs for its to stand up. And the way that it opens, it is not just like a flat opening. It's got kind of a diagonals and things to make it open. And when it opens, then it has Japanese paper on the inside that's red. The outside of it is turquoise. And it opens, and it has a clasp closure for it as well. So it's just gorgeous. I just love it. That's the one I was saying that, would be thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's been in some shows and didn't win any prizes or anything like that, but it has been in some art shows. So
we have one final question before we say goodbye, although I'm not sure if it's a question as such, but somebody obviously knows and wants to show you off. So Juanita Corbett.
Hi, Juanita.
Ask her about her washroom in her loft.
I think I showed you, didn't I? It's right here behind me. Oops, the side right here behind me. That door. Oops, there. That door right there leads to my bathroom in my loft. And I painted the ceiling blue, and I painted the walls up about halfway green, dark green, and where they come together, it's kind of raggedy. And I have in there sunflowers that I have made and other people have made for me, and purchased ones, and just all kinds of sunflowers and butterflies. And I have butterflies that stick on the wall, and I have butterflies that are made of metal. I have butterflies that are made of all different kinds of stuff. And I even have some that hang down from the ceiling on like a piece of fishing wire, and it used to irritate my husband because they were in the way whenever he would use the washroom. So I have had to pull them over to the side more and tie them to the side so that they wouldn't be in the way. But butterflies and sunflowers in there.
There was another question and I've lost it, and I know who it was from. So if she's in the chat, let me just check up, because I did pictures to go with. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Now I forgot to save one, so I apologise. So this is the last question, I promise, because otherwise I'm going to get attacked by the cat because she wants to be fed. So Marie Chavez has asked, I dread to think, another question. Do you do primarily butterflies on your work, or have you done maybe peacocks or ladybirds? And then she's laughing.
I love butterflies, so I don't mind putting butterflies everywhere. I have not done peacocks. I have not done ladybirds. I could do peacocks or ladybirds. I don't have any objection to that. I do have peacock feathers in my loft to inspire me because I love the colors of those. I know that Juanita also loves those. Hi, Juanita. So I don't really know if I have a rubber stamp. I think I do have a rubber stamp that is a ladybird, ladybug, ladybird, whatever you want to call it. About this size, but that wouldn't work very well for a journal page because you'd have to have a million of them if you wanted to fill it up. And I'd have to have something else that went with it or whatever. I have thought of doing a fairy journal, or a maybe even doing a mermaid journal or something like that, because I know that of course young girls are always interested in that. I don't know. I guess butterflies are my favorite bugs, so that's why I've used those. Butterflies and dragonflies. And damselflies. Damselflies have antenna and dragonflies don't.
I didn't know that.
Well,
I know they look almost the same, and so many people say, I had a dragonfly in my garden. Did you? Or was it a damson, or was it a hover? Are you sure it was a dragonfly? I'm certain. Okay. Marie is smelling things that are coming off of you, Elizabeth. But we'll get to that in a minute. I will let you know. I will let you know. Don't worry. Don't panic. I will let you know.
Okay.
But for now, Miss Elizabeth, please stay where you are. Everybody else, whoever is in the chat right now, whoever is watching the replay, maybe, if you are, no matter whose channel it's on, I would like to say that with Elizabeth, our time is now up. So thank you to everyone that has joined us at this time, and for all your questions and your compliments. Also, a thank you to those watching the replay, as it really, really helps, whether that's on my channel or whether that's over on otal. Please tell me I'm pronouncing that right.
Yes, otal stands for Princess of the Art Loft, because my husband calls me that. This is my art loft. This is where I do my art, and I'm his princess. What can I say?
I still want to slap her. Okay. So, Elizabeth.
It wouldn't do any good.
I know. I need extremely long arm. Like I said, please stay where you are. Everyone else, thank you very, very much for joining us. And I hope to see you at the next Spotlight, but it won't be next week, because next week we have a little something different. Watch out for
Oh.
Monday's video that will be posted up for what will be happening next Saturday, but the spotlight will resume the following. So, right now, everybody in the chat, take care. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next time. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Bye-bye. Thank you all for watching.